All right, Tech Tip Tuesday, guys. Here I am, Eric with The Loop. Another tip for you. Today we're talking about one of the questions coming up a lot now on new homes, which is what category cable should I pull? Most people say, should I pull Cat 5 or Cat 6? People go, well, Cat 6 is newer, so it's got to be better, right? Let's just pull Cat 6. Well, we've been talking with a lot of people about it and making sure they understand the difference so they can make an efficient decision and not waste money. So when we're looking at Cat 5 first, people will use the term Cat 5. Really what they're referring to is Cat 5e, which is enhanced. It was an improvement made to Cat 5. So keep in mind, Cat 5 in actuality doesn't exist anymore. Everything is Cat 5e. So whether your integrator or whether your company is choosing Cat 5 or Cat 5e in their verbiage, they mean Cat 5e. So sometimes we'll drop the E just because it doesn't matter anymore since Cat 5 doesn't exist. So we'll just say Cat 5 for simplicity. Keep that in mind, okay? So now when we're looking at Cat 5 versus Cat 6, couple things. One, both of them support 1,000 megabit speeds, okay? That's an important thing to keep in mind. By default, especially in a residential environment, they both support the same speed. There isn't a difference in speed there. I'll probably get some comments down here and people go, Eric, you have no idea what you're talking about, on and on and on. That's fine, comment away, okay? I've only been doing this for 18 years, so I'm still a little bit new. What we're talking about here though, is that in a residential environment, Cat 5 is well sufficient for anything you're going to do, okay? Like I said, Cat 5 is well sufficient for anything you're going to do, okay? If it's a commercial environment, you absolutely want to pull Cat 6. You absolutely want to pull Cat 6 in a commercial. Part of it is that the real value in Cat 6 is when very, very large files are moving within the facility, right? So think about the difference between a residential environment and a commercial environment. In a residential environment, the vast majority of content that you're looking for comes from outside the home and comes in, right? You're streaming it from somewhere. So even if you have 1,000 megabit or Giga 1 or Giga speed or whatever your service provider is calling it, Cat 5 will still support that without a problem, okay? You're streaming that in. Where Cat 6 becomes beneficial is in that commercial environment, maybe an architectural firm, a design firm, something like that, where they're moving very large files within the office and they're doing it a lot. That's where Cat 6 can make sense, because the difference with Cat 6 is that although they both support the same speed, Cat 6 has better interference protection. So I actually have a piece here of each. So if we look, they look very, very similar. They're both made up of 4 individual pairs of wire, okay? And we're traveling at gigabit speeds, 1,000 megabit. We're using all 4 pairs on both of them. But there's a couple things that you'll notice that are different. One of them is that Cat 6 has this spider, divider, depending on who's talking, they have different terms for it. And what this piece does is this keeps these 4 pairs in exactly the right location down the jacket. So if I go and bend this, my pairs don't change location. They don't splay or untwist. They're able to stay in that same location as I bend it. That's really important because the way these pairs are laid out is what prevents interference. So remember how earlier I was talking about how in a commercial environment, moving files internally is really important? What can happen is this wire can go up into an attic, it's stretched around a brace, it's bent over, and that attic is maybe 130 or 150 degrees in the middle of summer. Now what can happen is that information that's traveling over this wire can pick up interference and get confused. By putting that divider in there, by also going with slightly heavier gauge wire, it helps decrease that interference. Does that cause an issue in the residential environment? Well, whether you're getting 1,000 or 900 on your speed, you're not going to notice the difference. And if you're paying for 1,000 from your service provider, you're most likely getting somewhere between 700 and 900 anyways. So when it comes to that cable selection, we're still advising the vast majority of our projects with Cat 5. Now the other question is people say, well, but wait a second, the cable's not that much different in price. You're absolutely right. The price of the cable is not that much different. Where the additional cost comes in is everything else. So for example, through our time studies, My technicians can put connectors on these wires in at most a couple minutes, is how long it takes to do that. The connector that goes on the end of Cat 6, because there's so much more going on here with the tighter twist, the spider in the center, everything else here, that connector can take 6 to 8 minutes because it's actually 3 individual pieces that have to be put on there. So it takes a lot longer to put on that connector. That doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but what if you maybe have 50 or 80 runs of Cat 6? That means there can be 100 to 160 connectors. Now we're starting to talk about hundreds of dollars in additional labor. If you're spending $10,000 on your pre-wire, not a big deal. That's again why it's more important in commercial, because the projects are so much more intense, that cost delta is quite small. And they need those higher speeds to make sure their employees can work as efficient as possible. So again, Cat 5, Cat 6, both support gigabit speeds. Both will do just fine in a residential environment. From a cost standpoint, if you're trying to save some money, use Cat 5. It pulls easier, so it's less expensive on the labor side for us to install. The connectors go on easier, so it's less expensive from that regard. It is smaller in diameter overall, so that's part of that cost decrease. A little bit easier to pull and fit through holes and those types of things. But if you do want to have a little bit better architecture in your home, you can go with Cat 6. But just recognize that you're not going to see a vast difference. I can tell you in our office, it's all wired with Cat 5. But that's your tech tip for Tuesday. Have a great day, guys.